take a small land.
Says, hey mom, back in the olden
Peter, you can just say you're ready and he'll.
Yeah, he told me to. Okay, well, welcome, everybody, to the Town of Cumberland Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. I'll call the meeting to order, and all members, and Ann Sawchuk will not be with us this evening. So right now, I'm looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the June 20th, 2023 meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
I'm a little worried that
Yeah,
What?
question, I'm looking at the monitor,
Oh.
so far you're not on. So
Okay.
Hey, Peter,
people at home.
just so, and I got a abstention.
What?
Okay.
When
You
get-
can, sure. Yeah. We might have to say this all over again, right?
Yeah, well,
Just read back the minutes.
Yeah, no, it says, and it's got the dates wrong, which isn't a big deal, but.
These are on, and the mics are on.
so what is the verdict?
Want me to move this? You got it? Okay.
He's investigating.
Okay,
We'll give him a minute.
won't be the first time we've worked without a net around this place.
Everything on my end is good. The stream is up. I can verify all that, so I would go ahead just as normal. You can turn that off if that's distracting.
Okay.
So do I start again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, good evening and welcome to the Town of Cumberland Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. We all but Ann Sawchuk are present tonight. And right now, I'll look for approval of the minutes of the June 20th, 2023 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Have one abstention. Okay, looking for staff site plan approvals. We have a minor staff site plan review amendment to the Friends School of Portland for construction of a 28-foot by 15.9 feet, 448 square foot shelter structure to be placed on a tent platform to be located at 11 US 1 Cumberland Foreside, tax map R01 Lot 10. Carla?
Yes, they use this shelter for when the students are out in the field and they want to get them in under for rain or such. They have one now that's never been approved that's needs to be replaced and rebuilt. And the process works of our notifying folks that a staff site plan approval is going to be happening because a neighbor contacted me and said that he was concerned that the structure was actually over the property line. So we stopped everything, and that's being sorted out, and but they have their approval. They just need to finalize the location.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay, we,
Just 1 second. I figured out the issue with the cable. I just need literally 1 minute. If you don't mind just pausing for 1 minute.
okay,
Thanks.
we're, for all you folks out in TV land, we're paused for 1 minute, so don't head to the refrigerator for that second beer.
May I ask you a question about the Friends?
Yes?
Is there any rendering to show what it will look like, the shelter?
Yes, I have it back in my office. I could,
Can it be included with the minutes for the next?
we could do that. I could also email it to you tomorrow if you'd like. What's your email address?
I can give it to you after.
Okay.
Okay, does that take care of,
I don't need the world emailing me.
We're not on Lear right now, I don't think.
Yeah, let's just double check that. We can cut this piece out. The stream is fine, everything's fine, we just need to override something here. And there we are, perfect.
okay,
much.
we are back. We have no minor change approvals, so we'll go into the hearings and presentations. And item 1 is a public hearing. It's a site plan review of an 8-space parking area for access to the Rhines Forest to be located at 48 Blanchard Road, Task Assessor Map U12, Lot 6. The applicant owner is the Shabig and Cumberland Land Trust, and the representative for this evening is Jeffrey Reed from Seavey and Mahar. So Carla, do you want to lead this off?
I think I'll just pitch it over to Mr. Reed to,
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
One moment. I am in a butter, so I received notification for this project, but I don't think it'll impact my ability to listen to the information and make a decision.
Everybody with board okay with that? Okay, we will move onward. And any questions of the town planner before we go in? Seeing none, welcome.
Great. Hi, so my name is Jeff Reed. I work with CV Mahar Engineers, and I'm here tonight to present the Blanchard Road parking area project for the Shabig and Cumberland Land Trust. I've got a quick presentation here for you tonight, just to kind of outline what the project is and where it is. The access to this property is a conservation easement granted by the Reeds to allow use for the parcel in a small parking area to provide access to Rhines Forest from the Blanchard Road side, which is the northern side. The parcel is approximately 53.5 acres, identified as tax map U12 Lot 6. It's in the rural residential zone in the medium density residential zoning district. The use that we have here is an accessory use to an outdoor recreational facility. I have here an image, and I apologize for the scale if that's a little hard to see on the screen, but it outlines the location of the proposed parking area. I think if I use my mouse here, I can show it's a fairly small area here, roughly 9,000 square feet disturbed, and it's about half a mile from the stoplight at the center of town. Again, on the south side of the road, in the wooded area, adjacent to the field on the Reed property.
Is there any possibility that
Ma'am, could you please address the chair?
oh, I'm sorry.
Do you
I was
want her?
wondering if there's any possibility that we could go up closer and look at it. I can't see it at all.
Zoom it in. Can you zoom in?
Yeah, I think at some point, yes.
Okay.
After he finishes the presentation, that would work.
Thank you.
Sure, and whether you come up here or you see on the screen, happy to share that. I have a printed copy here as well if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a whole lot bigger than what you had, but you're welcome to it. So, the project itself, as we'd outlined, is an eight-space parking lot. It'll include one ADA van accessible space, be constructed of reclaimed asphalt pavement. There'll be a paved apron coming off of Blanchard Road. As I outlined before, is about 9,000 square feet of disturbed area. The parking area itself will be just under 5,000 square feet. The remaining area will be adjacent to allow for some fill and some grading to make sure that stormwater runoff flows away from the parking area. The project will also include about 680 square feet of wetland impact, which is a small enough area that no additional permitting will be required. We had looked into both DOT entrance permit requirements as well as DEP requirements for wetland impacts and NERPA and stormwater. And fortunately, the project is small enough that it didn't trigger any thresholds there. So our permitting here is limited to what we have here this evening. This is a copy of the site plan, and it outlines, Blanchard Road to the north. You can see the entrance that we have here. There's a hatched area that comes across. There's a band of wetlands that we're going to have to cross to get to the parking area itself. And it'll be a fairly simple 24-foot wide drive aisle, a hammerhead at the end, sloped down into the property and crowned to shed stormwater either direction. The ADA and van accessible spaces will be at the end where we're able to flatten out and provide the appropriate grades for accessible parking. It's a fairly small, very simple project. Happy to take any questions, comments you
I
might
think
have.
before we do that, if you could go back to the things, does anybody want to take a look at it before we begin the questions? You're all
This
set?
one here?
Okay, so questions from the board. Paul?
Yeah, just a couple of my questions regarding numbers. In the application, the site plan application, and I'm presuming these are just overlooked errors, but you list 58.98 acres, and then everywhere else it's 53, I think, or 53. So is it actually 53?
I believe it's 53. I think when we went through and we're typing it up, I kind of make my eights a little bit.
Okay. And the other is regarding, you just said 8 parking spots. In the application to the inland fisheries, you list 9.
Yeah.
And is that because of the handicap, or is it actually 8?
No, it's actually 8 if you look at the copy of the plan. Because we have the accessible space here, we basically block this other space out to allow the van accessibility. We're not able to stripe the area because it's reclaimed asphalt, but it will be signed at the front. So what we have is we've got the 7 regular spaces plus the 8th, which is the ADA accessible, and then if it were pavement, it would be a striped off spot.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I presumed that was the case, but I wanted to be sure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Hearing none, I will open up.
Sorry, I've
the-
got one.
Yes, sorry.
I was thinking that this is a typo. I go up and down Blanchard all the time. I believe that the speed limit there is 25. I don't think that impacts anything other than the fact that it's in these documents as 35. And I don't want that to be public record that it's 35 miles an hour going by that entrance.
It is 35 there.
It is 35?
Yep.
Must be passed.
Yeah,
It's,
the
I
tr-
know where this, I mean, like, I don't know, I know where the sign is, so I
It
don't know
changes,
what
it
the
changes
measurement
before you
is.
get to this, because we went out and we checked, and there was a sign there, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you.
So it's not where I think it is going in then, I guess.
No, oops, sorry, I went right by it. So the change, I think, is right around here. There was a sign here, and there was a sign here that outlined 35.
Okay. I don't think that's where the sign is. I don't know if we can double check that to make sure. It's not going to impact anything on your application.
No, from a site
From the
distance
site
standpoint,
No, it won't.
it's conservative, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we can verify that. Just, I don't want it to be on public record that it is 35 if it's not there. Because people will come back and read it and be like, no, it's 35 miles an hour, when I'm pretty sure the sign's posted as 25.
Well, it's going to be tricky for it to be considered public record because we're talking in vague terms about where the speed limit goes from 25 to 35 or 35 to 25. So people should be following whatever the signage is out there,
Okay.
not relying on a
Relying
planning
on
board
it.
application.
Ma'am, I'll open the public hearing in a second. Any other questions from the board? Lorraine?
Yeah, I'm just still trying to place where it is on Blanchard in terms, because I know we had approved a while ago a 5-acre farm stand area. So if you're entering from Blanchard, if you're taking a right-hand turn, is the 5-acre farm stand to the right of?
I'm
So
not
if you're
sure where- I'm not sure
standing,
where the farm
looking into
stand
the
is.
parking lot.
Is it further down?
Yeah, it's, if you're the Two Hands Farm, I think is that what you're?
No, there's a little farm stand on
There's,
this-
we approved
on
a
the
little
land.
5-acre farm stand, I think it's on one of the other drawings in the packet. It shows the 5-acre farm stand plot that we approved that we
It's a
said.
little building.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the Two Hands Farm.
So there is a little shed going up on the property, is that at the end of the 5 acres farm stand, or is that the,
So if it's the one I'm thinking of, which I.
Can you please step to the microphone, please? This is on.
So if it's the one that I'm thinking it is, you don't have the zoomed out, you don't.
No, that's just a
So if you
PDF.
go, continue on Blanchard past where the proposed parking is, and you kind of hit that bend, and then it goes up the hill, then you will see what I believe is the 5 acre parcel. It's Two Hands Farm, where they put a farm stand, because it's a community supported agriculture, and that's beyond this, quite a ways, actually. If that's the one, yeah, it's quite a ways. It's after the fair. It's quite a bit down the road.
It's down by the fairgrounds?
It's actually just past the fairgrounds. When you go fairgrounds and you go down the hill and hit the bend, yeah, it's a ways away.
It's at the foot of the hill. It's at the
Yeah,
foot
when you
of the
start to
hill.
go,
And there is-
when you
there's-
start to go back
there's
up.
corn there right now.
yes, yeah, and it's on your right-hand side.
That's a mile and a half.
Yeah, it's a
here.
ways down. I would say over a
yeah.
mile, at least.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
The landowner has reserved the right to build a small farm stand in the conservation easement, and you may have seen that in the conservation.
yeah, there is a
easement.
drawing in here that has a little 5 acre farm stand, and I was thinking that that's the one that we.
No, it's limited by square feet, but
Okay.
it's, it is there, they've reserved the right to do that and under the conservation.
So am I thinking of the right property? Because right there is a power line that
Yes,
started to go into the property. There's a shed being built kind of back,
yes.
so that's where the parking lot is going to be. Am I
Yes.
correct?
Exactly.
Thank you, thank
Yes.
you.
And he doesn't have any plans to build the farm stand now. It's just a reserved right for the future.
Any other questions from the board? If not, I'll open up the public hearing, and please state your name. Yes?
I'll be second.
I'm probably the most vocal, but anyway, there's things
Can you
that I
please
want.
state your name?
Oh, it's Abigail Cram. I live at 47 Blanchard,
Thank you.
formerly the Hilton property. So we are this white roof here. There are a couple things I would love to know from you. Two is I would love to know the distance between the edge of our driveway and where you start that access point. Right here. And I'll tell you why. I have 2 little boys, 10 and 5. We're out there all the time. You probably see the number of balls bouncing around in our front there. I have a pull across thing that I put there with red and white stripe like flagging, because there is no way people drive 35 going down that hill. And I'll tell you that Richard is here, I put my blinker on at Richard and across from Sophie's home because I have been almost rear-ended countless times. And I can tell you right now, people come down that hill and they fly. They also come because they see the straightaways here. They fly from this direction too. So I don't know what you have proposed, because it's not like Rhines Forest where it's sort of like, I don't know, it's a different road, not as wide. People see this as a straightaway. There are going to be countless rear endings happening here, of which I could be a victim of one, if we don't have either proper signage, clearly marked speed signs, or take into account the spacing between, like, I'm shocked the Fitzes aren't here, they're probably listening, but their driveway is right here, and it looks like and that's why I wanted to see on your other site plan where the entrance is in relationship to their driveway. I mean, I'm curious to know that, because what's going to happen with this, and I'm thrilled this is in conservation, please don't get me wrong. However, I am concerned about the access point, because you know as well as I do that this has created a thoroughfare. People will be crossing on bike and by foot across here, and if we have people flying at, which is usually like 45 to 55 miles an hour along here going both ways, it could be very bad, very fast. So I would love to consider the signage and the location too of where you're showing that proposed entrance, because I'm very concerned about the safety factors relating to that. My next question for you is also, aesthetically, how does it differ, or does it differ from what you have done at the current Rhines Forest parking? Is it going to be apples to apples, or are you changing? Now, you said recycled asphalt. Is that what's there at Rhines? Or is that different?
I believe it is.
Okay. It would be good to know. Okay. So
Can
the
you
other
go to the
question.
microphone, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, and we need everyone who's speaking to go to the microphone.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need anyone who can hand around. The other thing that raises about, for me, is when we talk about safety, I've walked the property with Mark, so I'm pretty familiar with it, and I know that the grade goes down somewhat substantially when you peel off of Blanchard there. So looking at I can't see the contour line, so there is the peel off in, your 24-foot wide, access point. Is that, like, grading wise, is that sloped at a way that will make it somewhat safe as someone's pulling out here? Like, I'm sure it has to be code and all that jazz, but I just wanted to make sure it's going to be like essentially level like what you've got at Rhines, because that will contribute to safety as well, as people peel in and out of there. I think that was all I had. One other thing. I'm assuming this is wetlands here, and that's why you guys plotted, okay.
Yeah, we're trying to find space in between so we can minimize the impacts.
And then I wanted to know also what this distance was here, because that's important too, like how much in the woods it is. Is it really in the woods or just sort of in the woods? That would be a distance I would love to know too.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, if you could address those questions.
Okay. I think I've got them all, but if I miss one, let me know. And what I may do here, if you bear with me, is, I beg your pardon? I've got the actual plan set that may be able to help answer some of these questions, show them a little bit more clearly. So this is the plan set that we included in the application package. And existing conditions, this is the plan you just saw, and the reason that I wanted to show this is because okay. And I apologize if I'm making everybody car sick by zipping through here, but I kind of wanted to adjust so that I could see what we were looking at for scale. So this is a 10 scale plan, okay? So I'll kind of take a look and I'll try to see. So the first questions that you had, Blanchard Road, right? We can only control what we do on our property in our project area. We can't control the street postings and the speed postings and everything else on Blanchard Road. That's a combination of the town and DOT. What I can tell you is that this has been designed to town standards. So this is a full 24-foot wide entrance, okay, which is enough for 2 vehicles to come in and pass, and it meets all the accessibility standards for emergency vehicles and everything else. This lighter gray section here is an actual paved apron, okay, so that's going to be the same surface as Blanchard Road. We come off of Blanchard Road at a minimal grade, 2 to 3%, which is pretty flat, out for a section here of about 30 feet, 40 feet, okay? And what that does is that allows, because you're right, this does slope down the hill, but what we had to do, and what we wanted to do, was build a little platform in this section here, so there would be a flat area for a vehicle to come up, pull, be on a level area, so that they could enter and exit the site without having to negotiate a steep grade, okay? And at that point, we brake, and then we come down in to the site a little bit steeper. Nothing here exceeds 5%, which is still pretty flat. And then at this back section here, because of the ADA requirement, we flatten out again here to 2% all directions. That's the requirement for ADA parking. So it'll be a little flat here. It'll steepen up to about this section here, and then it'll level out again here up close to road grade, okay? As far as the woods, and again, this is a rough calculation, Okay, this is the clearing limit of where we're having to cut trees. This is the existing tree line here. So this front section here, we're kind of coming in on the point, and that's maybe 20 feet. By the time you come down here, 10, 20, 30, roughly 40 feet worth of trees are staying in place there. And it worked out that way. I mean, that's a great option as far as buffering. Honestly, what we were trying to do was fit it in between a couple of wetland pockets, and it just worked out that way, which is great. And then on the western side, we have significantly more buffer in that area. We're quite a ways away from the property line up on this section here. And you can see we've got a couple little pockets here. We're grading this off because we had to fill it and bring it up for that safety factor. We had to tail that slope off on the sides, and we wound up coming into the wetlands just a little bit on either side, but it was a pretty good fit. So that's Woods entrance, and then Blanchard Road. What was the other one?
So I was curious where, you just cut it off here. I'd love to know, and if that's the edge of,
driveway.
yeah, if
Yep.
it's 24-something feet if I look at it. But anyway, I'd love to know. And one more question. When is it going to be staked so we can review it and look at it?
So, as far as construction goes, Penny, we planning on doing that this fall, or is that gonna be later?
It may be this fall.
Okay, that's just still a little bit up in the air, I think, because there's funding, there's budgets, and trying to put this out to bid. It will be sometime likely within the next year. If things and pricing are favorable to do it now, they might do it this fall, but it'll be, per town requirements, right? We've got to stake the clearing limits and everything else before we.
But if you tell me that distance, then I can walk it and mark it myself. So, like from the edge of our driveway or our house. even.
Okay, I don't know if I have that for you right now because.
Yeah, you can give it to me.
I can, yep.
That'd be great.
Sure. Let me take.
Any other members of the public that wish to comment? Go ahead. Dave?
David Potter. I'm concerned, once people pull in there to park, how are they gonna get from there? I assume Rhines Forest, you gotta go out back.
I think Penny, can you answer that one?
Where do they walk?
Penny, I'll let you answer that one. Can you identify, you didn't the last time, and the
Yes,
public would
sorry,
love to know
Penny
who you are.
Asherman, Sheboygan Land Trust. We have a trail going from the parking lot down to the Rhines Forest.
In the field or, what? Sorry.
In the woods.
In the woods, how far from the property line to the,
It's going
Trail.
along the property line to connect to the waterfall trail. The third bridge at the waterfall trail. So literally
it-
right along the property line.
which is where I am. That's my property, and I'm concerned, I don't want people walking to the Rhines Forest going over into my property without my permission. So I'm wondering, will there be signage? Will there be a cut trail? Or, I mean, are they gonna have to walk through the woods to get there? Just, what's the deal?
There will be a buffer between the property line and the trail. The trail will be marked and demarcated along the line.
There used to be a bunch of wild rose bushes there, which I would defy anybody to get through, but haven't been there for a long time. And I'm not sure that they still exist. I think they do, but I'm not sure.
But it does sound like that there will be a well-marked trail so that hopefully folks stay on it. That's pretty much been your experience, Penny, with the people on other similar ones. You haven't had too many complaints, have you? Okay, thank you.
I do know that people have been on my property, parking, and then just wandering around as an open field. So I just want to minimize that if I can.
Okay. Anybody else from the public? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Sophie Wright, and I live at 42 Blanchard, which is on the eastern boundary of the land trust property, as I understand it. And I have similar questions about buffering and the trails. And from what I can understand, the parking lot will have just that one trail that goes down through the strip of woodland straight to Rhines.
You can see the strip if you just go back to that.
And from what I also understand, there's going to be 40 foot of woodland left on the east side. Are there any trails planned for in the field itself, or is there that one trail from the parking lot that goes down? Yeah. Okay, well, I think that was my only question. I had been wondering about buffering. We don't have any wild roses. I've been trying to plant a lot of things. But the deer are fighting me, so thank you.
David, go ahead.
I can't go there and there at the same time, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, do we have a hand microphone?
Could I just point out on where I think the trail is gonna go, and then we can go from there?
If you
Okay.
use the mouse.
Oh, I do better with,
Okay.
I'm not technically.
Okay, well, if you want to point up there, I'll follow you with the mouse, how's that?
I'm assuming the trail is gonna go like this, through the woods, is that where it's gonna go?
Yeah, through this corridor here.
Yeah, okay, so you're gonna be cutting a 6 or 8 foot swath.
Or if yeah, it'd be like what's in the woods, really.
Yep.
It's marked, yeah, it's flat.
Okay, any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Janet Puistinen, and I live next to Abigail. And yes, the traffic out by our driveways is horrendous. I'm in the 25-mile-an-hour zone, and I'm happy if somebody's going 35 in it, because frequently they're going 50-something and above, and I can't tell you how many times I have turned into my driveway and had somebody blare their horn at me and then zoom off because I was going 25. So I think her concerns are very valid. I'm concerned about a couple of issues. One is, what type of signage do you plan? My first question is, what type of signage do you plan to point out that this is the parking lot for accessing Rhines Forest? You describe it?
I might be able to show it to you.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's great. Now I can actually see this. This is
Of course, we're flipping around between different items here. Oops, wrong sheet. Stop, blah, 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 exit. So this is some of the signage. I think it'll be, I mean, if anything, it'll be a very small parking area sign, like the one over on.
Yeah, I don't know what
off
that
of
looks,
Range
I've
Road.
only ever walked there, so, okay, I'll go and look at it.
Yeah.
My second question is, do you have any intention of lighting this parking lot?
Nope.
Great. And my third question is actually, is not about this particular parking lot and trail, but about the existing one, which is farther down Blanchard Road, where there is an access where one can walk from Blanchard Road through a field along a defined trail and eventually enter the forest and the waterfall trail and go around. Is that still going to be active? Is this going to become, what is the story with that? You can't park there.
Is that going to be maintained as part?
Right.
That will be, the waterfall trail is a waterfall trail, it is the trail, it will still be there. My guess is that because the parking lot is going to be on the Reed property, that people are gonna park there and use that trail.
Well, my question is it going to, I believe that it's part of the Cumberland Trails
Yes?
web at this point, or whatever it is. My question is that access still going to be available, or is it going to cease to be available?
It'll still be available.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just won't have parking.
Any other, anybody else wish to comment? Well, at this point then, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
It's just a question. So it sounds like it's unclear exactly where it goes from 25 to 35, if I'm hearing everyone correctly. Am I right?
I think it's the old story, it is what it is.
Well, but it's important because I think there could be some benefit to putting a sign going both ways somewhere to the town's benefit, as I see all of the EMS and everything fly by my house every day, to reposting the signage somewhere between, I would say, Richard and Janet's home and this access point coming from Main Street Center, and then the other one coming from the stop sign. It is truly dangerous to have people turning in there.
But that is a DOT issue, it isn't
Okay,
something that's.
so what does one do from our perspective as a butters, where this is going, which is lovely, about that?
It's an issue with the town. You would have to, I would start with the town manager. That's a good start.
Okay.
I did just so everyone is aware, I pulled up the Department of Transportation. It is 0.44 miles from Main Street is where it switches from 25 to
Okay.
35. So if we actually did some measurements, we could figure out exactly where it's supposed to be. I think, I mean, I live on Blanchard Road, I understand. I've got kids too, I get it. They fly.
Fly.
I think you're on the 25-mile-an-hour spot, aren't
I
you?
am.
And yeah, everyone going down that hill. So
Fly.
I share those concerns too, being there, and how are people going to go in and out of it, and how are people going to not zoom past you when you're turning into
Right.
that parking lot?
Yeah.
And it's scary.
It is scary. So town manager would be a place to start.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
And if I could add, because I
Yes.
also live in that area, I think what happens, and I get tailed all the time, because I drive 25. I think what happens is people crest that hill, and then they see the 35-mile-an-hour sign ahead of them, and they think, oh, I can see the sign, and they anticipate and they drive 35. So they don't wait till they hit the sign. And then I'm taking a left just after the 35-mile-an-hour sign. So yes, I have many people in my trunk of my car.
So, I mean, I don't.
I feel your pain.
I'm not sure if this is gonna make you guys feel any better or worse, but we did look into this as part of the design of this parking lot. We did reach out to DOT and just to make sure, and that for the size of this lot, which is 8 spaces max, you know, we're not gonna be generating enough trips here, especially trips in the peak hour, to significantly impact, certainly nothing that would require any sort of additional permitting from DOT. That was one of the things that we looked at, because we do want to make sure this can be a safe use and everything else. And it is a residential area. But it is a very small lot. And I think, especially during the peak hour times, the impact should be fairly small.
Any other questions or comments?
Can I make a comment, please?
That comes after, go
I
ahead.
just want to make an anecdotal comment about DOT. Most of us in the public are not aware of the fact that if we have a problem with our neighborhood in terms of speed limit, that if we ask the DOT to do a survey and to come up with a conclusion, we're just as likely to have them raise the speed limit as we already get what we want, which is a lower speed limit. So that's another problem.
I've seen that happen.
So any other comments from the public? If none, I'll close the public hearing. Any other comments from the board before we do the waivers?
Yeah, Peter, I can't help myself. No matter where I drive, I'm tailgated by somebody. Not constantly. I use my emergency blinkers, and if they pass me, they pass me. But it's just something. I wish I had a solution. I'd like to have something that I could shoot backwards, but I don't. So it's just some very inconsiderate drivers.
Can I ask a trail question? Because there's the trail that continues on the opposite side of Blanchard to go to Knights Pond. does this parking lot create a more straight shot across the street to get to that trail? And the reason I'm asking is, now we're introducing pedestrians parking in the parking lot and then crossing Blanchard to get to that trail. Because normally what they do is they come off of the waterfall trail through the field, they walk along Blanchard, just a short way, and then cross. But-
It's not an official trail, though. The FITS is being very generous and letting people
Yeah.
go along. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you and I know that people are gonna cross there, and we'll just wait and see what happens, but it's not an official trail. I mean, I can tell you that mountain bikers are gonna be so psyched when this happens, so we'll just see what happens, you know?
Okay, anything else from the board? Then we've got 3 waivers requested, that we waive the hydrogeologic evaluation, and that's due to the fact that there'll be no subsurface wastewater disposal or other groundwater impacts as a result of the project. A marketing study, which is non-applicable, and for marking all trees greater than 10 inches in caliper, the proposed clearing is going to be minimal, and trees over 10 inches are not common in the area. So what action do we want to take on those waivers?
I will make a motion that we waive the hydrogeologic evaluation due to the unique nature of the property and the project.
Seconded.
Motion moved and seconded. Any discussions? All in favor?
I will make a motion that due to the unique nature of the property and the project that we waive the requirement for a market study.
A second.
All in favor? Opposed?
I will make a motion that due to the unique nature of the property and the project, we waive the requirement from identifying trees greater than 10 inches in diameter.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So we have dealt with the waivers, and I guess it's time now. Lorraine, can you run us through the findings of fact?
Yes, I can. I did not bring my glasses, so bear with me. I just need to make it bigger on my screen. Okay, findings of fact for the site plan review. A, utilization of the site. The plan will minimize impacts to the natural features of the site by minimizing disturbance to undeveloped areas as much as possible. Land disturbance has been limited to the mostly open areas of the site with less mature tree growth. Clearing in the forested areas has been avoided completely. A wetlands delineation was completed by Copy Environmental LLC, which identified the stream and forested wetlands associated with it to the east and west of the proposed parking lot.
Excuse me, just want to tell you that everything after that will be struck.
Correct, yes. Okay, so
And
that
there's
ends
no-
that, because we do have the letter from the Maine Department of
Correct.
Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Based on the above facts and with the proposed conditions of approval, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met.
All right, Lorraine, sorry,
Yes.
we don't need the proposed condition of approval. It's been met.
Oh, because we accepted them, thank you. Traffic circulation and parking. The traffic at the proposed parking area will be controlled by the restrictions of the conservation easement, which details need for conserving as much of the natural environment as possible. Based on the limited parking available, traffic volume will be limited well below the 100 trips in a peak hour, and a traffic movement permit is not required. In terms of the driveway, the combined entrance and exit drive for the parking lot has a sight distance of 350 degrees in one direction, and, that's 350 feet in one direction and 485 feet when looking in the other direction. Based on the MDOT standards of 10 feet for every mile per hour of the posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour, this standard has been met. Points of access and egress, the standard has been met. The grade of any proposed drive or street, this standard has been met. The intersection of an access egress drive on a proposed street, this standard has been met. Not applicable in terms of where a lot has frontage on 2 or more streets. Where it is necessary to safeguard against hazards to traffic and pedestrians and/or to avoid traffic congestion. No turning lanes are necessary due to the low traffic volume expected. Access ways must be designed and have sufficient capacity to avoid queuing of entering vehicles. This standard has been met. The following criteria must be used to limit the number of driveways serving a proposed project. No use which generates less than 100 vehicle trips per day shall have more than one two-way driveway onto a single roadway. Only one combined exit entrance drive is proposed for this parking lot. Access way location and spacing, those are not applicable. Internal vehicle circulation, nothing there is applicable. Parking layout and design. The driveway and parking areas were located and designed to provide safe circulation to the site while minimizing impacts to the surrounding land. Existing grades and vegetation will be maintained to the extent practicable. The above standards have been met. There's no applicability of building and parking placement. Pedestrian circulation. Based on the above facts, the planning board's finds the standards of this section have been met. On the next section, stormwater management and erosion control. The proposed stormwater management plan was reviewed and approved by the town engineer. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Erosion control. Slope and wetland impacts were limited. Erosion control will be in conformance with the main erosion and sediment control manual will apply during construction. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Water, sewer, and fire protection. Under water supply provisions, there will be no water supply or sewage disposal required for this project. The parking area has been sized to allow a fire truck to pull in to the drive aisle if needed, and an ambulance will also be able to enter and exit the parking lot at the entrance as needed. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Sewage disposal provisions. There will be no need for sewage disposal in the parking area. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Utilities. No utilities are required for this parking area. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Fire protection. The parking area has been sized to allow a fire truck to pull in the drive aisle if needed. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Water protection. There will be no groundwater or hazardous material discharged as a result of this project. The property is not located within an area designated as an aquifer protection area. There will be no on-site water supply or sewage disposal systems. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Water quality. No substances described above will be stored or discharged in a way that could contaminate surface or groundwater. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Aquifer protection. The parcel is not located in the aquifer protection area. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Floodplain management. The parcel is shown on floodplain map number 230162-0015B. The location of the proposed parking area is within an area designated as a Zone C area of minimal flooding. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Historic and archaeological resources. A review letter has been provided from the Maine Historic Preservation Commission. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. So is that a correct rendering of that?
Yep.
Exterior lighting, no exterior lighting is proposed. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Buffering and landscaping. The parking area will be buffered from views on all sites through existing vegetation. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Noise, there will be no activities associated with the parking area that will result in noise. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Storage of materials. There will be no external storage of material. There will be no dumpster or trash receptacles on site. Signs will be placed instructing visitors to remove any trash generated. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met. Capacity of the applicant. Technical capacity. The applicant has retained the services of Savie and Maher Engineers Incorporated. Financial capacity. There is a letter on file dated July 25th, 2023 from Atlantic Federal Credit Union stating that the project is estimated to cost $50,000 or less and that the CCLT has sufficient funds in its bank account to finance the project. Based on the above facts, the planning board finds the standards of this section have been met.
Okay, are we ready to have a motion to adopt the finding as a fact?
I will make a motion that we adopt the findings of fact as amended.
Here, a second?
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor? They were adopted.
Carla, I'm looking at an old one. There are 3 proposed conditions of approval. Is that a correct statement?
The one I'm looking at has 5, the last one being struck.
Well, shouldn't 4 be struck? We have both letters now,
Right.
correct?
So we
Yeah.
can, yep,
Okay. So I was looking at the same one, but we should have 3.
yes, we should, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
So we've got 3 proposed conditions of approval. A pre-construction conference, oh, you can do that as part of the motion. Okay,
I can.
yeah.
I will make a motion that we approve site plan review of an 8-space parking area for access to Rhines Forest to be located at 48 Blanchard Road, tax assessor map U12, lot 6, subject to the standard condition of approval, the limitation of approval, the expiration of approval, the
Yes.
standard condition of approval and the proposed conditions of and the 3 proposed conditions of approval.
Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Congratulations, Penny. Good luck, and thank you for everybody for coming and giving your views and comments. Okay, we're ready to move on to the second item, which is the recommendation to the town council on amendment to the official town of Cumberland overlay zoning map to remove the manufactured housing, MH, overlay zone as it is now obsolete. Carla?
I don't have the map to project up there, but I will describe what's happening. You have a copy of the zoning map. So this is the overlay zoning map. You know our basic zoning map has the zoning districts, R1, R2. An overlay map goes on to show things like our resource protection areas and any overlays that the town may have adopted. The state of Maine required all municipalities to designate 2 areas where mobile home parks could be located, and that designation is MHP, and it's staying as shown on the map. The removal of the MH is for the removal of manufactured housing, and that's sort of an antiquated term now. Manufactured housing used to be differentiated from regular stick-built housing, and so there was a decision made about where that type of housing should be made. Now, as you know, there's often prefab homes that are placed on sites. Some of them are very, very lovely and expensive, in fact, and high-performance ones are considered that way. So there's no need for the MH. Any place a house can be built, a manufactured house can be built.
Just a question for either Bob Vale, our town councilor, is in the audience, and two of the former ones are up here. And I can remember when we did the mobile home one, as I say, that still exists, but I have absolutely no clue when we did the manufactured housing. Bob, do you or George?
It was years ago
Yeah.
that the issue was put to bed as far as manufactured housing as opposed to stick-built, which is stick-built under controlled conditions. And you couldn't prohibit a manufactured house on a lot that would
That's
take a
correct.
house.
That is the law now,
And
yeah.
we knew that years ago. I'm wondering why
Why
this
we
is
didn't
coming up.
remove that overlay? Probably because we weren't really studying the overlay. We've just updated all of our zoning maps, including the overlay, and we're trying to get it
that's
down
right.
to fewer colors and stripes and designations. And when we remove this, it will just make the overlay map much cleaner.
I guess you're-
Making it-
Other comments from the board?
I like pretty maps.
Then I'm ready for a motion.
I will make a motion that.
Public hearing?
Oh, yeah, it's a public hearing. You
Oh,
can't- We
yes.
can't have a motion.
Shoot me. I will open the public hearing, and seeing no one, I will close the public hearing, and now I'll ask for a motion.
I will make a motion that we recommend to town council an amendment to the official town of Cumberland overlay zoning map to remove the manufactured housing overlay zone.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Do we have any administrative matters or new business? Anything,
No.
George? I think
George?
Comment about the.
After having spoken to a couple
Okay.
of people, I decided not to mention this. I went by the solar array that was proposed the 15th of May that we approved.
Yes.
And seeing it denuded, so to speak, it's just, I know they're gonna do plantings and so on, but I'm just hoping that the plantings, especially off Route 1, are gonna be closer to 10 feet than 6, after looking at the way it looks now. And they've done a great job of flattening the whole landscape.
Oh, well, I haven't been by lately. So we have no other administrative, Carla promised, yes.
Just one comment. So September, I'll be traveling.
Okay.
I won't be here in September.
Well, Carl has promised us a possibly active September with the possibility that the Chase property may come up. And also, our beloved school district has got a mea culpa visit to us for some construction that probably shouldn't be done. And being, I think Josh reminded me that many years ago, I came here on behalf of the school district to profusely apologize when we'd messed up before, so I'm very, very familiar. Yes,
I just want to remind everyone, if you want to attend the Jensen Baird Municipal Client Seminar, to let me know. There's a September 1st registration deadline.
okay, anything else? If none, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Real quick, do we use SharePoint? So if I get an email telling me to look at SharePoint, I can delete it? Okay, thank you.
I've been doing it.
Don't touch anything. in
Don't
your
touch
email.
anything.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So
Second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody,
you.
for attending.